gathering will help us to change the mindset of our young people that agriculture is for those who couldn't make it in the city. Agriculture is also a lucrative business, but I assure you, digital agriculture is the way forward, not what we inherited. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alaji Dan Sado. Thank you. It is time now. We invite for a poetry recital a young, well, when she comes up stage, you see her. Join me in welcoming Sadiqa Bello, ladies and gentlemen, please. Let's clap for her, ladies and gentlemen, as she step up for this part of it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sadiqa Bello. I am about to recite a poem I wrote with respect to the theme of the Northern Youth Summit. And it goes, do you remember? Do you realize now how peace flourished like vines around our neighborhoods? How watering it was not a duty we placed on one another's shoulder and passed it on until it fell into evil hands that crushed it, that selfishly sucked the nectar out of it and left their brothers thirsty. How we never let this precious plant wilt, nor did we blame others of its condition. Rather, we placed all hands on deck to revive it together, to balance acidity ratio, to enrich our already fertile soils and help each other's crops grow. How our founding fathers, tributes to Tafawa Balewa, a hero, to Sardauna, who modernized and unified the diverse people of the North, whose portrait adorns the 200 Naira note. Yesterday, in the land of our forefathers, we were our brothers' keepers, our elders' teachers, and even strangers' preachers, because everyone was ready to learn. And yesterday, dispute resolution mechanisms did not resort to war. No one took up arms against another, but through the art of speech and execution of justice, peace reigned. There was balance of religious beliefs, of ethical standards. We learned each other's languages. Not did we abuse a stranger in coded words, because we spoke in different yet similar tones. We spoke harmony. Yesterday, youth were known to own sustaining and creative traits. They planted and harvested their foods and waited for no one to spoon-feed them. If only we realized today that everything we're searching for is within our reach. That peace lives in us, starts from us, from toning our voices down to greeting with a smile, relieving that frown. Today, there are no jobs because we failed to create them. Out of 1,000 ways, out of the 1,000 resources we have, like the internet at our fingertips, yet we would rather sit in our comfort zones going on about Netflix and chill. But we don't realize that Netflix is someone's job, their source of income. We indirectly offer the wealth and riches we crave for and wish to be like them when we grow up. But how much more growing do we need to do before taking action? Before building solutions for our problems? To ease the future, we are the future, and the future depends on the now. When we make ourselves competent, best believe we will not chase after jobs. They will fall to our feet until we make a pick. Today, we must have standard goals in place as building blocks, as stepping stones to better life opportunities, and rights to freedom, freedom of choice, choice of what lives to live, of what God to worship, freedom from discrimination against religion and gender and ethnicity. It's time we stop blaming external factors. It's time we stop with the dependency mentality. Time we take ownership and responsibility of our lives. Mutashi mukoma ga arsalimu en arewa ba samu da kiwiya ba. Mutada dantse wurin gyara kanmu da gyara arewanmu. En uwa in ji an ce tabbas. There is love and beauty in the souls we call home. There is strength and power. We are strong and powerful. But we must unlearn and relearn our ways of correlation and living. Sing songs of victory in our rolling tongues, na Hausa, e fulfulde, be nupe, kura kanuri, and then dance to the rhythm of our mother tongues in loud voices, voices of reason, singing so powerfully, so meaningfully, so loudly, until we awaken the Arewa spirit. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. Clap for her, ladies and gentlemen, please. Thank you very much, Sadika, for that beautiful recital. It is time we quickly move to the next thing, which is the third panel. And we have with us the moderator of this panel, which will talk on decade in our marital institution, the way forward. May I so invite Ali Amin as he step forward as our moderator. Ali Amin, please. Let's clap for him, ladies and gentlemen, please. And inviting another personality that is a multilingual personality. He is a Sheikh al-Shuyukh, Ustad al-Asatis, Muallim al-Ulama'u, al-Mubajjal, al-Ra'is. He has his first degree from Medina University in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, having an LLM in the University of East London in the United Kingdom, with a doctoral degree on the University of Nottingham in the UK. He is currently the head of the Department of Arabic and Islamic Studies, Sokoto State University, and the chief imam, Sultan Saad Jumu'at Mosque. Dr. Jabir Sani Mehula. Let's celebrate this honorable gentle personality. Equally inviting is another personality that we call her the Iron Lady, being a great personality that have been in it and still in it. Grace Yakubu Ekpiken. If you're ready, may we invite her, ladies and gentlemen, as she step up. And equally inviting another young, vibrant personality. He is, they call him N. Shuraim. But I call him Alaji Nasruddin Shuraim Abdul Mumin. May we so invite you to please join us. Our mother that combines the two, religious, Western, social, and what have you, and academic per excellence, Dr. Mrs. Mariam Lemo. Let's celebrate our distinguished guest as she step up to join us. And I wish to submit the house to Ali Amin for onward. Thank you.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thank you, MC Big Boy. I would first of all like to thank the audience for having the patience to stay over these long hours. Thank you very much. I would also like to thank the organizers, ably led by the Iron Lady herself, Aisha Falke, for organizing such a historic and august summit for the Northern youth and the region. And to the panelists, it's good to have you here. So, as we all know, the topic for today is to look at the problems, try to ask questions, what those problems are, why those problems persist, and most importantly, to proffer solutions on the way forward. Before I engage the panelists, I would like to give a brief introduction to the topic, or rather a foundation for you to understand the direction that the discussion would actually take. In its barest form, marriage, as we all understand, is the coming together of a man and a woman in an attempt to spend their lives together. And this is based on certain factors of love, respect, loyalty, compassion, fidelity, and any good word or every good word that you can think of. Unfortunately, we have found ourselves in a generation where marriages are actually terminated much faster than they are contracted. It's very sad to see situations where women, our mothers, our sisters, our partners, gifts given to us by Allah, to see them being married off in their thousands at a go. This is a problem that we should not allow to happen in our society. This is something that shows how big, or rather the magnitude of the problems that we have. And we all know marriage is the cornerstone of a society. Previous speakers have actually hinted on the importance of this, the social aspect. We have problems, we see problems. I don't think there is one person here who doesn't have a story to tell, or rather, who has not witnessed the breakdown of this institution around him or her. So why is this happening? Why have we found ourselves in this situation? Why have we created a society where there is a high level of perception of bad marriages compared to the good ones? So these and many more issues are what we are going to be discussing today. So I would like to kick this off by asking this question. There are situations where you find it very rare to see couples that have spent years together, unlike how it used to be before. You find couples who have spent 40, 50, 60 years together. But now, like a previous speaker said, most of the marriages do not go beyond the first 3 years. So there is a gap. We lost it somewhere. So I would start with Sheikh Mehula. Where do you think we lost it? What happened along the line? Thank you.
Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Amma ba'du, my respected brothers and sisters, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As an imam and a person who people consider to be a scholar, I entertain many problems. People turn to me for their personal problems, and part of which is marriage. I do a lot of reconciliation among the couples, and through experience, I come to realize that there are a number of factors that contribute to decay in marriage. The first of that factor is forced marriages. You will find in some instances, a girl is forced to marry a guy that she is not interested in because of one reason or the other. Most people, when we talk about forced marriages, will think that because he's rich, because he's prosperous. In about 5 marriages that I witnessed, 5 forced marriages I witnessed recently, none of them, the husband is so rich. It's just because he's a family friend or he's a relative, he's her cousin, and her father will insist that she has to marry that particular person. So she will get to that house hating him. Now what we need to understand is that in Islam, marriage is a contract. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us a principle, a qaida, on how contracts shall be conducted. Allah says, "Antaradun minkum." There must be a mutual consent. You cannot give out your daughter in marriage to someone without her consent. She has to approve that. There's authentic hadith reported in Sunan al-Tirmidhi that one of the Medina ladies reported to the Prophet ﷺ that my father forced me into marriage. Then the Prophet ﷺ gave her an option. He said, if you want, you can undo the marriage. And if you want, you can continue with the contract. Then she said, I will continue with the contract, but I did this for other ladies to know that they have the right to choose the one they want to marry. So one of the greatest factors that is contributing to decay in marriages is forced marriages. Also, we have unrealistic expectations. Now, when the guy is proposing to her, he will try to portray himself as something else. Sometimes as someone who is rich, who is polite, someone who is sincere and honest. But after the marriage, she will find out that he is not. And also, the same thing applies to her. Now, there is another thing out of this, within this unrealistic expectations. Sometimes the married couples will exaggerate their experiences when they are telling new couples or the people who are intending to marry. Then she will tell him that, they will tell him, oh, I'm really enjoying it. Then he will come with the imagination that this marriage is a safe haven, that once he gets married, everything will go normal, his businesses, his everything, he will be that kind of person he is always dreaming to become. And also the same thing applies to her. So now you have to know that when you're coming into marriage, there are really shortcomings from all sides. So you know you have your shortcomings that you have been hiding from your partner. He also has his shortcomings that he has been hiding from you. Another factor, if I may continue, yes, another factor is cheating, which occurs so frequently these days. He will be newly wedded, and he will have another mistress outside that he will be chatting and sending some new pictures to. Yesterday, I was here in Kaduna. Yesterday, I received at least 3 messages from different ladies about this, that we are married for like only 1 year, but when I checked his phone, unintentionally, I think something happened and she checked his phone and she saw nude pictures of her friends. And someone will tell you of her sister. There was a lady who called me to tell me that I saw nude pictures and nude chatting between my husband and my sister, my blood sister. How can I come about it? So cheating is one of the factors that contribute in decay in marriages. Maybe later I will continue.
All right, thank you very much, Sheikh. In your points, you alluded to perception, the perception of marriage. Mariam Lemu, I would like to come to you next. Do you think a lot of people are confused about what marriage is? Do you think that is a problem that contributes to the decay in that particular institution?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullahu khairan. I think the most important thing my brother just mentioned is unrealistic expectations. Not that we are confused, but we have expectations that aren't realistic. I often use myself as an example. I went into marriage thinking my marriage would be identical with how my parents' marriage was. It was beautiful. They never fought in front of us. And I grew up believing that's what would happen. And within 2 weeks of being married with my husband, we fought over something very small, insignificant, and I panicked. And I just figured this marriage is going nowhere. And I asked him for a divorce. I was very naive. I thought things were going to happen on their own. It didn't involve hard work. So I think one of the biggest disservice a lot of parents are doing today is they are not preparing their children to go into marriage to know that fights will occur. Fights are inevitable. And this hakuri thing of just take, swallow in silence and suffer and so on. I tell people, Allah na tuba, I say, Randa Allah raba hakuri na jiyawo. Astaghfirullah. But sincerely, because I know it's not that we are expected to just take any rubbish and keep quiet or suppress our emotions. However, back to the question you asked about the issue to do with, are we going into marriage, not knowing exactly what to expect? I think there are many tools which I can discuss later as we go on, that you need to have with you as you embark on this journey called marriage. And if you don't have these things set up from the premarital stage, which is the most important time before the marriage, so that you observe each other, you accept each other as you are, not a work in progress, not someone who you're going to change after the marriage, but you are fine if they stay the way they are, then there are other things, inshallah, as we go further, hopefully it will come up.
That's mashallah. You mentioned this hakuri, magana hakuri, aita hakuri. And Magana Hakuri tends to seem as though it's a reflection of a system that we have where the woman must be the sub, that's the submissive, and the, yes, so she has to be the submissive one, where the man is the leader, he says this is what we should do, but the society tends to make it seem that way. Do you think the woman doesn't have a voice when it comes to marriages, the marriage institution in the North, where the man is allowed to be the head and do what as he pleases? The man tends to get away with a lot of things, where the woman is only made to ki hakuri kawai kuma menene zai wuce ai aljanna kina karkashin kafar shi mijin naki da sauransu. Yalla bai. Shurain, sorry. What would you have to say on that?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Before I answer his question, last week I was with Mufti Ismail Meng, and we visited the Emir of Kano, Muhammad Sanusi II, and they said something that I think, yeah, we're talking about Northern Summit and everything, and they were talking about how we do not appreciate where we come from. Each panel that came here, they say Salaamu Alaikum, and we all do Alaikum Salam. So I'm going to repeat my salam. If you're truly Northerners, and you appreciate the fact that you're from the North, let's hear the salam in a louder way. Are you ready? Are you ready? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That was not loud enough. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Haba kokufa. May Allah bless you all. Most of you be wondering, what is this boy doing on the seat when he's not even married? But as my brother Salim said, he said that the coach does not play football, but he does the coaching. So may Allah bless you all. Back to the question of what I think about women saying hakuri, hakuri, and the likes of it. I would reserve that for my teachers because I cannot talk when they are around. But I will chip in this. But most of the youth come to meet me with this problem. When they get married, they'll be like, Shireen, I don't know if I love her. I don't know if I married her or I'm very confused. Now, a lot of us mistaking infatuation with love. We mistaking infatuation with love. But before I go further in the infatuation, you need to understand that character precedes chemistry. Now, chemistry is important, the attraction is important, but there's a saying that says, chemistry ignites the fire, but character keeps it burning. Yeah. Now, when a person has a good character, their attitudinal behavior, the way they treat people is amazing, then living with that person becomes easy. Because when a person is humble, a humble person doesn't get angry easily. Do you know that? A humble person doesn't get angry easily. You marry a humble person, you know that there might be calmness in the house. But you marry someone that is not humble, you know that there's a problem in the house. And we always try to marry potential. We try to look for potential. A man marries a woman thinking that she will never change. And a woman marries a man thinking that she can change him. But in reality, at times it doesn't work like that. You just can't change a person because you're married to them. So you need to look at this, and it goes down to their ideological and religious practice, hygiene, food, and likes of it. I'm a foodie, I love food. So if my wife cannot cook, there's a big problem. So I got to, look for a wife that perhaps can cook. But these are little things that we do not look at carefully before going into marriage. We say, yeah, she's perfect. That's the way he said. But no, you got to fix it before it passes. May Allah bless you.
MashaAllah. Shireen, I'm sure there are a lot of ladies here that can cook. Okay, so...
I want to say something.
Okay, yeah, please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. So I'd like to before I start, I'd like to thank Aisha, even though she's not here, for really being objective. Earlier when she was giving her speech, she said she wanted to make it inclusive, which is what it is. And Kaduna State is actually known for being liberal and being open. So I look different from a lot of people here, and I deliberately, even though I tie my hair, but I deliberately left my hair open so that I can also project that narrative of who we are. when I was thinking about this topic, when I sat down, I was thinking that, you know what, even though this is a Northern Summit, Kumamwe and Ariwa, when we're talking about it's a niche of Ariwa, the truth is every woman is a woman. What it means is a Northern woman, a Lagos woman, a Malaysian woman wants to be treated the same way. Women have same needs. So whether I'm a Christian or I'm a Muslim, most times women just want the same thing, and to love and cherish and nurture. Personally, I don't believe in feminism, or let me not use the word feminism, equality. No, I believe in equality, but I don't believe that a woman must. I believe in a man's space and a woman's space. Now, I want to look at this issue on a different level. Is it possible? So we have a lot of projections about what to do before marriage, expectations before marriage. I want to be Dang Aji or Yan Aji at this point. What about the people that are already married and the issues that they have? I would like us to also include those in it. Now, I feel a lot of reasons why there are separations. Is it possible that because women are actually beginning to speak up? Is it possible that women are beginning to demand for more? Is it possible that the narrative is actually changing in the way that we intend it to be? I was telling someone earlier that the truth is women sitting down in the house or girls not going to school is becoming a minority. It's becoming a minor idea. It's no longer the majority. It may be majority in numbers, but it's a minority in terms of idea. So is it possible that women actually just want more? Yeah.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for us. Okay. We all know the Northern society is a very patriarchal society. Again, back to that patriarchy question. And you made a very good point. Women want more. We all know also that a lot of Northern men, apologies in advance, feel threatened by women, the Northern woman who seeks for her independence. We have a lot of women coming up in the North now, attempting to be independent, owning businesses, working and all. But a lot of men feel threatened. This is the reason why most times you see, especially online, when a woman comes up and speaks on certain issues that are very dear to her heart, men are quick to shut her down. They attack her. They call her all sorts of names. They brand her. Why do you think this happens? Why do you think men are threatened by a woman having independence? Grace? Yes.
I think it still goes back to what I just started saying. Again, it's not really just a Northern thing. A man is a man. Men are men. They are the head of the house. They're there to shield us, to guide us, to protect us. But at the same time, we're also, women are human beings that have needs, desires, dreams, goals, and they want to express them. So I think it's very normal for a man to feel, it's funny how we talk about this, because sometimes a man will support you. I always say men give you this with the right hand and take it with left hand sometimes. Like they support you, oh baby, I want to do this, I want you to do this, I will support you, take money, go for training. Then when you come back, I want to go for a train, or I want to go for a class where maybe let's say it's makeup, and he says you can't go, or you can't go past 1 o'clock. Meanwhile, the event actually starts 1 o'clock or starts around that time. So men, honestly, except men prove me differently, men will always be a bit protective. I think an average man would definitely feel a bit threatened. But women also have to know the man that they're married to. You have to know how to approach him. You have to know how to talk to him. I think it goes back now to who did you marry? Who did you get married to? Did you discuss all these things? Exactly. I married 17 years now. To be honest with you, I didn't have much discussion about my dreams, my goals. I just thought, oh, I love him, he loves me. Whatever it is I wanted to do, because he loves me, he's going to support me. That is not happening. So he says, I'm supporting you, but again, I'm not supporting you. But with time, with prayers, but again, like you said, the Hakuri thing is not really the ultimate, even though it's something that we should go by. It's how to talk to the person. But again, men have to try and understand that times are changing. I mean, culture is good, but you have the right to pick from your culture what is good and what is not working. Like, if something that is not against your religion, it's no longer in vogue for you to say, your wife is not going to do anything. It's no longer in vogue. That's why we have a lot of men here. Probably if this meeting was called so many years ago, men probably wouldn't have been here. So men are threatened, yes. I think there's nothing we can do about it, but it's how to handle it. The men will have to kind of change. Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I add?
Do you want to say something?
Just want to add, when I was courting my husband, he made it clear to me that it's really important that I know my rights, but I also know my obligations to him. And then he shared a book with me. Ironically, it was a book my own mother wrote, Ideal Muslim Wife and Ideal Muslim Husband. Even though she wrote the book initially for me as a gift, Ideal Muslim Wife, I never read it. But he made sure that I read it and I understood what I was going into. If we do not know our rights, ignorance is not an excuse. Islam is not a religion that in any way prescribes any kind of oppression or suppression of an individual's fundamental rights. To go out there to do, we are all awliya, we are all supporters of each other, and we're meant to build one another. What he told me helped so much in the relationship. He told me amongst my rights are that I do not need to cook, that I'm not a glorified housemaid. He told me that I do not need to do the chores in the house. And when we got married, I was 18. Inshallah, I will be married about 28 years this September. However, when we got married, we left Nigeria immediately, where there's no house girl. Wallahi, my husband was the one doing the house chores. He did 90% of the cooking in the house, even though I was an excellent cook. However, the job I had, because he couldn't afford to be the only breadwinner, I definitely wanted to work. I wanted to go out there and learn what I was good at. So we both worked to support each other. He allowed me to follow my dreams. He always said, Mariam, go for it. I'd be doubting myself. And he said, what are you waiting for? An angel to come and slap you on the face and say, you've got it? Go, do, be. There was a point where I was earning far more than my husband while I was working in the States. I worked up the corporate ladder and I was doing extremely well. And he was always there behind me. He got my back. Never for a moment did I take advantage of the privileges he gave me. I think one of the problems are that some of the problems are that we take our spouse for granted. We start to show off. We start to flex muscles. And that's where there's a problem. However, when it's a true companionship, when it's a true partnership, when you treat each other like mates, as Allah says in Surah Al-Rad, no, it's not Surah Al-Rad, forgive me, I can't remember which verse. However, he said, we have created for you mates from amongst yourself. Your mate is not somebody you oppress. Your mate is someone who's almost your equal. However, it is very clear to us as Muslims that Allah has said that the man is the head of the household. But if you want your wife to support you, you have to support her too. So this thing to do with making sure you're in it together, you're in this journey for the long haul, to uplift and support each other, I know that the promise Allah has given us that we will find that peace and tranquility will happen when you both uplift one another and encourage one another. But the most important thing, go back to the roots. What are your rights and what are your obligations to your spouse? If everybody followed the rules, wallahi, we would see fewer divorces and broken marriages like we're seeing today.
MashaAllah. Yeah, Sheikh Mehula.
Well, before I take on that, let's go back to issue of Hakuri, which Shurem dodged to answer. Hakuri is necessary in marital life, in all contracts. Bahaushe yana cewa wanda ya ce zo mu zauna ya ce zo mu saba. There must be Hakuri. Without Hakuri, no business can endure, no marriage can endure, nothing can endure. That is why typical Hausa man will tell the couple on the wedding day, he will tell them Allah ya baku Hakuri. Because he knows that misunderstandings are constant. They are part of marital life and they will arise in the future, and it is only Hakuri that can solve them. Now, coming back to the issue of independence. Now, Lemo has already said it. You have to know your rights and obligation. In no verse in the Quran or in hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, we are asked to oppress people. Everyone has his rights, but also rights come with obligations. We also need to know our obligation. Now, when we come to marital life, it is clear in the Quran that the husband is the boss. Not only in the Quran, in our culture, world over. You can't say Musta Aisha, but you say Mrs. Buhari. He is the boss and she is subordinate. And this is clear everywhere in all cultures, maybe in most of the cultures I know, and also in Quran. Allah referring to this in the Quran says, وَأَلْفَ يَا سَيِّدَهَا لَدَى الْبَابِ. Allah was referring to a woman and he called the husband as the boss. Now being boss does not mean that the other one is your subordinate and is subject to, you will subject her to all hardships. That's why when Allah was referring to the husband, Allah he says, وَصَاحِبَتِهِ وَبَنِيهِ, and his companion. Allah wants you as a wife to understand that the husband is the boss. And Allah wants the husband to understand that this is not your subordinate, despite the fact that you are the boss, she is your friend. So now when you take it this way, understanding that my husband is my boss, I need to respect him. The Prophet ﷺ said it clearly, إِذَا صَلَّتِ الْمَرْأَةُ خَمْسَهَا وَصَامَتْ شَهَرَهَا وَأَدَّتْ زَكَاةَ مَالِهَا وَحَفِظَتْ فَرْجَهَا وَأَطَاعَتْ بَعْلَهَا قِيلَ لَهَا ادْخُلِي مِنْ أَيِّ أَبْوَابِ الْجَنَّةِ شِئْتِ. When a woman prays her 5 daily prayers, and she fasts her month of Ramadan, and she pays out her zakah, and she safeguards her chastity, and she obeys her husband. She obeys her husband. Now, if you scrutinize Quran and Hadith, you find that Quran is calling on husbands to be compassionate to their wives. These are your companions. These are your friends. Be kind to them. Be good to them. But Quran will address wives to be obedient to your husband. Be submissive to your husband. Follow him. But that does not mean, as I said earlier, that he will subdue you to hardship. You are going to live as friends and companions.
MashaAllah.
Sheikh, I passed it to him because he's my Sheikh, so I wouldn't speak on Hakuri when he's sitting, but now I can chip in something because he has already spoken. Now, one of the easiest way is among Hakuri is for you to give your wife 3 A's. And then you give your husband 3 R's. Now, sisters, if I mention the A's, if I'm correct, you say Northern. Do you agree? Now, the first A woman wants from her husband is attention. Am I right? A man comes back home and the wife will be like, some of them call them Babang Aisha or something. But if you call your husband Shushu Bobolina, yani, come and meet him and say, Shushu Bobolina, you know what happened? A woman hit me today. She expects you to be like, oh my God, how? How did it happen? Did you hit her back? But most men today like, oh, sorry, that's it. Now, you can be able to sit in peace with your wife like this. The second A is what? The first one is what? Attention. Affection.
Northern.
A lot of women. No?
Northern.
Yeah, Northern.
No, you said you should answer it for your
Oh, she said Northern.
Yes.
If I said the third one, you agree, say Northern.
Northern.
I can't hear it.
Northern.
MashaAllah. She wants affection. She wants your love, your care. We the men today, we feel like those the way they say like we're the bosses. We don't want to talk to our wives in a nice way. Oh, Fatima, where's my food? It doesn't make sense. But no, call her with beautiful names. Habibti, where is my food? Shushu Bobolina, in the words of Idris Khamis, where is my food? You know, baby, where is my food? This increases the love between both of you. And she wants appreciation. One of the things I've seen Sheikha doing always is that she always appreciates her husband, even on stage. How many of us appreciate our spouses in that way? A lot of men do not appreciate their wives. You got to appreciate her. Now for the brothers, for you to live in peace with your wife, you know, for the wives to live in peace with your husbands, give the man 3 R's. The first R is respect. Brothers, am I right? Respect, reassurance, and give him the relief. Barakallahu feekum.
Northern.
All right, so finally, Mariam Lemu, I would like to ask this question. Is there a one-size-fits-all solution to a successful marriage?
Sorry?
Is there a one-size-fits-all solution to a perfect and successful marriage?
That's a very good question. No, there isn't. There is no formula that anyone will give you and say, if you follow this in black and white, it's written in stone, it's proven to be a success. However, there are some best practices. There is no way you will show your spouse respect and expect a bad thing to come out of it, as long as you do it with the right intention. I describe marriage as a journey with twists and turns, potholes, obstacles along the way. However, there's a beautiful destination. But like any journey, before you embark on it, you need to have a destination in mind. Both of you have to be on the same page. You have to know where you want to go. What are your expectations? And are you able to fulfill each other's needs, wants, and fantasies for the marriage? And then you need to also pack your bags before you embark on the journey. What you need, these are my best practices. First and foremost, I believe strongly Allah first, spirituality. That you keep Allah close, let Him be your guide, let Him be your compass. And then do acts of spirituality together. We have a mosque right outside our house, but my husband prays with me and the children at home when he's around. And for me, it really helps because, as they say, families that pray together stay together. And then fidelity, because like my brother mentioned, this is really what is destroying so many of us today, marriages and lives. Because I do a lot of marriage counseling and I get a lot of pleas to help that my spouse is having an affair. Sadly, even the women now are getting in on the game. And you find men are complaining that he discovered his wife is cheating on him. So it's becoming an epidemic and it's destroying the ummah. So fidelity. Let me know that while we are on this journey, he's not going to stop on the road and go out with his wandering dangahuhu, then come back home to me. Again, other things. My brother mentioned respect, that there's mutual respect, mutual growth. And then commitment for life. For me, I'm in it for the long haul. My mind is set on, inshallah, they will say, and they lived happily ever after. And that makes me patient. So the issue to do with the sabr, the issue to do with the haƙuri, it's haƙuri to see the results of your hard work. Not haƙuri because you are being oppressed and you keep quiet, but that you're working together to work on your shortcomings. And then communication. Communication is one of the biggest reasons why marriages break down. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, if you don't learn how to speak in a way that your spouse would listen, that you figure out when is the best time to speak, he comes into the house and you bombard him, or you just suddenly blow up on her because she did something wrong. Timing is everything. I use my biggest weapon of mass destruction, and I use it to go for the jugular. I go for blood. Alhamdulillah, I'm speaking in the present tense, but that was before. First 6 years of my marriage was hell. We fought a lot, and I used my words to cause maximum damage. But when I learned to start picking my words carefully, timing, making an appointment to fight as I describe it, and alhamdulillah, it doesn't break down into a quarrel, it made a big difference. Then I want to add one thing, be comfortable asking for feedback. This is one of the biggest problems as human beings. We are very insecure hearing criticism. But once you're open to accepting constructive criticism, that it will help you grow. My husband and I give each other feedback. Hardly more than 4 months will pass. I'll say, Said, is there anything I'm doing right now that you don't like, that you want me to change? And are there things I'm doing that you like, you want me to continue? And what else can I do to ignite the spark in your heart? And he gives me feedback. So this is just the few advice or the few tips I could say. It's not written in stone. Some people will do it and it doesn't work. I remember a friend I advised to do what I call paper 1, paper 2, and paper 3, which was a tip my mother gave me because we never saw them fight. So I thought they didn't fight. When I called her, I was like, Said and I are just fighting all the time and it's not working. She said she wrote my dad a letter. And he gets to read it, she picks her words carefully. Well, I wrote a letter, it was 18 pages long, practically like I describe it, a newspaper. But after it didn't go well, I learned my lesson, I called her, she told me how stupid I was, that I should put myself in my husband's shoes and read it and see, is it gonna help provide a resolution at the end of it? So I advised a friend to use the same formula because it worked for me and it was so wonderful. In fact, there was a stage where my young son, Salim, is all grown up now. I would give him the letter and tell him to take it to his dad. And this is a kissy, kissy love letter, take it to your dad. It was a hot letter with me expressing how upset I was. But he would take this time bomb to his dad. But alhamdulillah, over time it worked. And we got to a stage where we could communicate without it deteriorating into a fight, because we always make sure we think win-win and we maintain dignity and respect as the main currency that we relate with each other with. But my friend who wrote a letter, her husband was so mad, he carried the letter, he showed all his friends that this is the rub. It didn't go well. So there's no one size fits all. Some things work, but it's good to ask. It's good to be curious and always ask for feedback. May Allah make it easy.
You make everything seem so perfect.
What's that?
You're so, like she's making me feel so human right now.
MashaAllah. Okay, to the rest of the speakers, I think I'll give 30 seconds for any closing remarks. What advice would you have for the couples out there and the intending couples particularly? Thank you.
Shall I start?
You can start.
Well, I think the advice I will have for them in 30 seconds is to find a relationship counseling platforms where this expert will be giving advice to newly wedded couples, and they should maintain going to that platform or going to that counseling center for like 3 months after marriage. Therefore, if there is any relationship that will arise within that first 3 months, they will be given proper advice to solve it. Now, one of the greatest problems there first is over involving third party. Once they started in the first week and she saw something that she doesn't like, she will call her sister, she will call her mother, she will call her friends, and she will be telling them the bad side of her husband. And he will be doing that. They will come to forget about it if time goes, but other people will be looking at them as, this is a bad husband, this is the one who does this or who did this to my sister or to my daughter. So they shall persevere, and there shall be a relationship counseling centers that will be giving advice to newly wedded couples.
MashaAllah. Shireen?
Assalamu alaikum. Sheikh Maryam Lemo said something very profound. I want each and every one of you to all take back home today. She said that one of the things that stand out for her the most is when it comes to spirituality. A lot of us today feel that, spirituality is not a necessity. You see, each and every one of you sitting here is always sitting here by the grace of Allah. You know that? You're only sitting here by the grace of Allah. And Allah loves you, Allah is closer to you. Whenever you're going through a problem, in your life, get back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And guess what? You will never be able to go closer to Allah until you will learn about Allah. Most of us feel that our religion, Islam, is not something you should come and learn, just do your 5 daily salah and go away. Wallahi, it will not work like that. Ask yourself this question: do you really love Allah? Do you really, respect the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Because if you do love Allah, then life with other people will be easy for you. The way you treat other people will be amazing, will be awesome. So I am advising all the youth down here today, go back and seek for a proper and a deeper understanding of your religion. Because you know why? Ultimately, we're going to go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today it might be me, tomorrow it might be you. But we should all understand that we are going to die. And we're going to go back to the one that has created us in the best of ways. So that's my advice to each and every one of you.
MashaAllah. Next.
Me?
Yes.
Me, okay. We all get married in the hopes that we will find a companion, a friend, a confidant, somebody we can be ourselves around, and a lover, and hopefully the father or mother of our children. We have needs, we have fantasies, we have wants. It's very important you understand your spouse's love language and what their needs and wants are. I will give you advice if you could go on Google or YouTube and look for 5 love languages and 6 basic human needs. Those 2 things really open your eyes to understanding why your spouse may be reacting a particular way. Sometimes what we think we are doing that is supposed to improve the marriage may end up not being what your spouse is looking for. So once you go through these things, they really open my eyes to understanding what is my husband's top priority. And because you most likely know your husband's personality and character, you'll be able to identify and make sure you're depositing in the right currency. You may also feel, I want quality time with my spouse. And to you, quality time is let's sit and talk. However, your spouse will say, you want quality time? Girl, come, let's watch football together. You're not depositing in the right currency. So make sure you know your spouse's love language and their 6 basic human needs. And then accept your spouse as they are. That is the person you married. Be content. I always say Allah took his time, crafted, molded every inch, and I mean every inch of my husband just for me. And I love him just the way he is. I know he's not perfect, but he's perfect for me. With that mindset that Allah, I am grateful to you for this gift you have given me. Validate him. My brother, or my son as he describes me as his mama here, always said, he just mentioned this thing to do with women want to be acknowledged. He mentioned the A's. Every man wants to feel that he matters, that he is relevant, that he exists, and that he is appreciated. And the same applies to women. We all need to have our spirits fed. and our souls fed with words of acknowledgement, validation, appreciation. I promise you, if you start that, your marriage will change the direction and you will have, inshallah, that beautiful ending. May Allah bless your union.
MashaAllah.
So I wrote down 3 things. I had so many things I wrote down, but right now I feel like I can't even beat up to so many things they're talking about. But for me, I would like to say this, and I probably will be the devil's advocate. I think, like Aisha said, she's been accused of being biased on the blog, and I understand what she means. But the issue here for me is not that women aren't offenders as well, or women aren't contributing to the divorce rate. But we all know that the majority of the issues we have are more men-based, or women are more victims of such situations. And so I'd like to implore, or I ask the men to, like she said, be kinder, be nicer, be the same thing we want women to do too. The same thing men want women, the same thing men want from women is the same thing women want from men. We want to be, we want to be loved. I'll put myself in. So that's one. Secondly, I do Haskimata Ariwa, and have done over about 60 interviews of women. And most times towards the end, I asked women, who has influenced your life the most? And about 50, I would say, that is about 80 or 90% of these women have said their fathers. And these fathers raised these daughters. And I always say that an Ariwa, a northern girl, is raised as a princess by her father. She's shielded, she's protected. But then she goes into this marriage and she expects that from a man who also has been raised by the society and culture to be the Oga Patakpata of the stuff. So what happens? Is it that the same men that raise these princesses and guide them and take care of them don't apply the same thing to their wives? That for me is a disparity. As much as we want to talk about all the things that women should do, we also need to also acknowledge the issues, especially from Northern Hibiscus. There are a lot of issues that are lying. A woman can do all she can within her powers, spiritually, physically, emotionally, but we are still meant to, like they said, man is the boss. So we still have to look up to the men. So I'm just imploring the men, please, I don't have all the right words like that she's using, that they should just be a bit more kinder. The last thing I'm going to say is, in Arewa, I'm also a northern girl. I'm from Kaduna State, but raised in Kano. We need to raise confident women, confident girls that will grow up to be women. A princess will end up being a queen that will run her castle. So she needs to know how to run her home. So confidence in herself, knowing what she wants to be. Like she said, when she gets into her home, she will know her rights. So when I moved to Lagos, I realized as an Ariwa girl, I really lacked confidence, like I really lacked that. So we women, as men, young men, fathers, mothers, raise your child knowing that she matters, not just because of a man, but even in herself, she can do much more that she wants to do. Thank you, that's all I have.
MashaAllah. That's a very good way to end, and I hope it has been very educative, very enlightening. I hope we do take the lessons that have been proffered here, take it to our homes to ensure that we have successful marriages. And for those intending to get married, I do hope they get wives who can cook and make them happy. Thank you very much for taking the time out to listen to us, and mashallah, and I wish everyone a safe journey home. Thank you.
Thank you, Baba.
Thank you very much. The panelists, thank you, please. For time factor, we are taking the next thing, which is, of course, the last on the program, which is, of course, is closing remarks. It will be so moved by a personality that have been here right on time, perambulating up and down, trying to ensure that this event, of course, is a success. Since yesterday, she slept late, I've learned. Today, right in the morning, 7 a.m., she was here. And up to now, as she was here, she has been moving up and down, fixing things to be right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Hajia Sadia Detti for this part.
Wow. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This means a lot, honestly. This has been Aisha's dream to gather young people from all walks of life, discuss, talk, and find a way out. And I'm really glad we're all here. And I know we must have learned a lot of things. We'll all take something home, inshallah. I'm really happy, and I wish every one of us safe trip back to our various destinations. And inshallah, we'll look forward to seeing you next year with great testimonies and achievements. Thank you so much. Aisha, you are a great leader.
Well, thank you very much. For and on behalf of the Northern Hibiscus Initiative, we went through from this side all the vendors, myself, MC Big Boy, Rimbos Galore, Eventspiration Epic Stage Wax, the caterers, Laplas, and all of us that are here, the security personnel. We say thank you very much for the opportunity given us to serve you. Thank you. Wishing you journey mercies once again. Thank you, please.